Hello guys and welcome to Painting Panzers. My name's Christian and today we're going to be taking a look at how I assemble plastic toy soldiers. So this is a video that's been requested a lot, which is surprising. The process for me is very simple. We're going to be doing this with a Warlord Games plastic sprue, and the first thing you're going to want when you get into this is to get yourself a nice pair of side cutters. Don't be just ripping the heads off and the bodies off by hand like I used to. Use a nice pair of side cutters and you can trim them off really nicely without too much hassle. Then you want to get yourself a metal file and a normal nail file that you can get both from like a hobby store or a hardware store or a cosmetic store. The metal file probably not so much, from a cosmetic store I should say. And then you want to file away those lines that you can see on the model, or those excess bits of mold there, and I'm just going to be filing away. The metal file is obviously a little bit more rough, and you can get different courses and whatnot of files, so you want to not go too harsh with it. Make sure you've got a bit of a fine file as well, and just file away until you get rid of those lines, because the worst thing you want to do is paint your model and have these horrible mold lines sticking out. So they're really easy to remove. Sometimes you might have to get a Stanley on there as well. You can see I've got a Stanley knife again, just from a hardware store. So there's 3 items there, or 4 including the side cutters that I've needed. And then I've got him ready to be glued. So I've got this absolute cheap glue from like a dollar store here in Australia. You can get them pretty much anywhere, I'm sure. I'm going to be using this because it's a super quick, super drying super glue just to base him. I'm not going to be using it for anything else. I use this glue for metal items, but for plastic I'm going to be using the Tamiya extra thin cement. Now this stuff is very potent. It can give you headaches if you're using it for too long, so make sure you're in a ventilated room or giving yourself a bit of space, and don't use it for too long. Like, don't do like hour-long sessions unless you want a nice headache. Now the good thing about this cement is it will melt the plastic together. So the one thing I like to do is, if I can, just put the item together as is loosely. So here in this case I've got his arms, they're going to be going onto his body, and then I'm getting that cement and I'm just applying it on. You see it's got a little brush already on there, literally applying it between the torso and the arms there, and just letting it do its thing. You can sort of squeeze it together if you want to. If you want to sort of melt the two together, you'll see straight away that it melts, and then you want to give it a good half an hour to an hour before you start messing with it, because it does take a while to dry. But you can start gluing other stuff on in between. And the great thing about this cement as well is it's very forgiving, so if you make a mistake you can just remove it and redo it, as long as you're relatively quick. So here's a really good example. I just want to readjust the head. I'm going to zoom it in, and you can see that already in that short space of time it started to melt the plastic. There it is, the plastic's melting together. I can rip it off, remove some of that, the like little strands of plastic that have come with it, and just to reapply. That plastic that was loose will now melt back onto that sprue, and well, not sprue, the model, and yeah, reform on that head, and then start to glue that head back down to the body and just melt it all together. It's a lot better than using really cheap super glue for obvious reasons. It's a lot more tidy as well. And then here we go, just apply a little bit within the helmet. Now do not use too much of this, and if you get excess, be aware that if you get it too close to your fingers, you will melt it to your fingers very easily. I've done it multiple times, and that isn't forgiving, because you're going to need to file away your imprint of your finger. So yeah, just be aware when you're using this stuff. It's a bit of trial and error when you first use it, but it is magic once you've got the hang of it. And then I haven't given this time to dry at all, but this is how it's come out. Really straightforward and easy, no problems, and I'll just let this guy dry overnight. So that's pretty much it. That's how I assembled my plastic figures. It's a video that's been requested, as I said. Feel a bit silly making it, but hopefully it's going to be of use to some of you. Alright, I'm going to leave it here guys. Thanks again for watching, and I will catch you at the next one.